Okay, all right, class. We have talked about our amniotes and those evolutionary adaptations of the amniotic egg and how that allowed for life on land. Along with our reptiles, we also have our birds. These are now considered part of the reptile group. There's about 10,000 species worldwide of birds. They are archosaurs, but almost all of their reptilian anatomy has undergone modification for flight. So instead of scales, they have wings that have keratin feathers. They have large pectoral muscles, that would be on their chest. They also have a lot of weight-saving adaptations, so they've gotten rid of excess baggage that would weigh them down, so they don't have a urinary bladder anymore. Females have one ovary instead of two. They have smaller gonads, and they have lost their teeth. So every little ounce that they can drop to save weight and make it more efficient to fly, all of those little things have been lost. Here is a hawk soaring.
The hawk in this video clip was filmed in the Galapagos Islands, soaring through the air in search of prey. The wing clearly functions as an efficient airfoil. The leading edge is thicker than the trailing edge. Its upper surface is slightly convex, and its undersurface is flattened or concave. Since the air passing over the top travels farther than the air passing under the wing, the air molecules are farther apart, thus less dense, on top of the wing than underneath. This difference in air density results in greater air pressure under the wing, which lifts the wing. Birds' bones are hollow and relatively light, allowing them to reach great speeds of flight. Some birds can fly up to 170 kilometers, about 100 miles, an hour.
Here's geese. Well, and here are swans. Our extant birds are in a clade Neornithes. This includes 28 orders of living birds, and this clade arose prior to 66 million years ago. Several groups include one or more flightless species. So, although their body has adapted to flight, not all of them do fly. So, ratites are an order of flightless birds that include the ostrich, the rhea, the kiwi, the cassowary, and the emu, which is this bird, which lives in Australia. The king penguin is also a bird that doesn't fly. Here's a picture of it swimming or, quote unquote, flying underwater. Birds generally have pretty complex mating behaviors, pretty complex courtship rituals, and this is one feature that kind of helps differentiate their different species. So because they have different courtship rituals, even if they live in the same area, they don't mate with each other. So that helps them develop into distinct species. Fertilization is internal in most birds. Copulation does involve contact between the male and female cloacas. We've already talked about we've already talked about this word cloaca, but if you don't remember, please pause and look it up and write it down in your notes. That's one word we need to remember. And then eggs and the embryos that are developing within them have to be kept warm. That's usually done by brooding by one or both parents. So one parent might sit on the egg, or I think a penguin's holding the egg on their feet. The parent is going to use their body heat to keep the egg warm. Okay, let's look through some of these mating behaviors of some of these different birds. Okay, this next video is of the lyrebird, and I think this one is just fabulous.
What bird has the most elaborate, the most complex, the most beautiful guess there are lots of contenders, but this bird must be one of them. The superb lyrebird of South Australia.
He clears a space in the forest to serve as his concert platform. To persuade females to come close and admire his plumes, he sings the most complex song he can manage, and he does that by copying the songs of all the other birds he hears around him, such as the kookaburra. It's a very convincing impersonation. Even the original is fooled. He can imitate the calls of at least 20 different species. He also, in his attempt to outsing his rivals, incorporates other sounds that he hears in the forest. That was a camera shutter. And again. And now a camera with a motor drive. And that's a car alarm. And now the sounds of foresters and their chainsaws working nearby. Of the forest changes as you descend, becoming ever darker and damper, favouring different kinds of animals and plants. Less than 2% of the sunlight reaches the floor, but even here there is extraordinary variety. In the great island of New Guinea, there are 42 different species of birds of paradise, each more bizarre than the last. This forest is so rich that nourishing food can be gathered very quickly. That leaves the male six-plumed bird of paradise with time to concentrate on other matters, like tidying up his display area. Everything must be spick and span. All is ready. Very impressive, but no one is watching. The superb bird of paradise calls to attract a female. And he has more luck. But what does he have to do to really impress her? retires to consider her verdict. It's hard not to feel deflated when even your best isn't good enough.
Okay, so those are some fun little videos about the bowerbird, the lyrebird, and the bird of paradise courtship. When we're talking about the body form of a bird, that adaptation for flight has meant most birds have a pretty similar shape, body form. But birds do differ a lot in their profile, in their color, their flying style, their behavior, as we just saw, their beak shape, and their foot structure. So here, this bird has feet that have been adapted to perching. Here, this hummingbird has a beak shape that has been adapted to be able to eat from particular flowers. It has a body shape that allows it to be able to fly and hover while it's eating. And here we have a specialized beak shape to be able to get into the water and get the fish she'll need to eat for dinner. Okay, so you should now be able to tell me aviation adaptations for flight. That is something we discussed from the very first slide to the last slide there. So make sure you're comfortable discussing those with me. So that means all we have left to discuss are our mammals. So I'll see you soon to talk about our mammals. Bye.